Welcome to Bloom Psychology. The following is a short, commute-friendly excerpt from our recent clinical webinar, Is It Time for Testing? To watch the full presentation and download the companion toolkit, check the link in the description below. Let's dive in.
Thank you all for being here. With the snowstorm and school cancellations, we know it's no easy feat to pull off. In 2026, one of our goals at Bloom is to engage more with our community and bring our clinical knowledge to those of you on the front lines. We understand how busy you are, and while there are times when it's really clear that testing is needed, with more subtle presentations, it can be challenging to know whether testing is necessary. Our goal today is to offer you some key points to have top of mind as you navigate these complex decisions. Together, we can shorten the time it takes for patients to get an accurate diagnosis and receive the treatment that they need. As you're listening today, if you think this content would be helpful for a colleague or you'd like to watch this webinar again, we will share a link of the recording in a couple of weeks. We'll also send you a key takeaways document with the highlights from this presentation, and feel free to share with anyone that you'd like. We chose to focus on ADHD, autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, and dyslexia because they're the most common diagnoses we're giving later than would be ideal. One reason they're often missed is that they share observable symptoms, even though the underlying mechanisms differ. For example, inattention may be caused by attention dysregulation in ADHD, sensory or social overload in ASD, or language-based processing strain in dyslexia. Comprehensive testing allows us to determine why someone is struggling and connect them with the right interventions. Prior to getting an accurate diagnosis, many of our patients participate in services that aren't addressing the root cause of their challenges. While early intervention leads to better outcomes, we can't properly intervene until we know what we're treating. Many of our testing patients spend months or even years with either no supports in place or the wrong supports. For example, a child struggling to learn to read may get nonspecific tutoring instead of specialized tutoring that's evidence-based, like Orton-Gillingham for dyslexia. Or a patient struggling socially may participate in therapy to address what was thought to be social anxiety, but turns out to be ASD. Later, we'll discuss the amount of negative feedback patients receive from the world around them while they're waiting to get an accurate diagnosis, feedback that really harms their self-esteem. Sometimes parents fear that getting a diagnosis will hurt their child's self-esteem, but it actually protects it. So often, the wait and see approach is encouraged. We hear from many parents who end up in our office that they were encouraged to give their kids time to grow and develop rather than pursuing testing. On the one hand, we totally understand that, especially in the age of helicopter parenting. Some parents are overly concerned about behaviors that are really developmentally appropriate, or they struggle to accept that their child is performing average or a little below average when they expected their child to excel. When those parents end up in our office and it becomes clear that testing is not appropriate, we connect them with other services like parent training and therapy. We also frequently see parents who were discouraged from pursuing testing, thus delaying diagnosis and intervention. We hope to be part of that shift from a reactive model to a proactive model by improving your ability to identify when it's time for testing. We'll discuss in detail what masking looks like in ADHD, ASD, and dyslexia later in our webinar. For now, let's start with an overview of what masking is. Masking is suppressing or disguising symptoms in an effort to meet expectations and fit in. Some patients are aware that they're masking and they're aware of the toll it takes, others are not. Masking is particularly prevalent in high achieving or gifted individuals who internalize their distress. It's also more common in girls and women. While masking may have some short term benefits, in the long term, it leads to fatigue, burnout, anxiety, and delayed diagnosis. We have 4 goals for today's webinar. We'd like to improve your ability to recognize the subtle presentations of ADHD, ASD, and dyslexia, build your understanding of how masking and scaffolding hide difficulties, demonstrate why screening and observation often miss complex or subtle cases, and explain how comprehensive evaluations allow us to accurately diagnose even the most subtle presentations of ADHD, ASD, and dyslexia.
Thanks for listening. If you found this helpful, you can access the full in-depth webinar and our professional resources at bloompsychologyservices.com. The link is right below in the description.